Even Donald Trump's allies have now admitted that the presumptive GOP nominee has had a not-so-stellar month. Hillary Clinton's campaign could choose to sit back in its Brooklyn headquarters and just wait and watch while their opponent self-destructs. Instead, Clinton's been pretty aggressive. She's gone to battleground states. She's kept the pressure up on her Republican rival. She did it again today while talking about national security at the Air and Space Center in Hampton, Virginia.
So not one of Donald Trump's reckless ideas would have saved a single life in Orlando. It's just more evidence that he is temperamentally unfit and totally unqualified to be commander-in-chief.
So Clinton's done an interview with USA Today in which she's talked about a speech she's going to give next week, staying on the offensive on Trump, on the economy, saying he's unfit to be the steward of the American economy. What can she do during this period to take advantage aggressively of Trump's current problems?
I think she's doing it. You saw it yesterday. I think, if I were a Democratic master strategist and I could coordinate everything, I'd have Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama on a series of issues, hammering Trump, being in the news, doing it in tandem, and going after trying to turn every policy issue into a character issue. And the way that Trump's been behaving lately, if he reacts the way he has been reacting on so many things, he'll give them plenty of fodder.
Yeah, I'd say three things. And again, they're doing all of them, but I'll highlight them. One is her performance continues to be so much better than it was.
Yep.
No more shouting, confident discussion of Trump. I think if she can just keep that performance level up and get into debates that way and the convention that way, make a huge difference. Second is the battleground states, focusing on data, having her campaign be ready to have operations that Trump isn't going to be able to match in the battleground states. That can be worth several points in a close race. And finally, Republicans, the courting of Republicans, now that Sanders is easing out of the race, figuring out how to time the announcement of support, not just of national figures, but prominent people in the battleground states, local officials, business leaders in, say, Ohio, Florida, et cetera. It's going to be a backbreaking thing because it's going to get a ton of attention when it happens.
I believe that priorities has been up now for almost a month with advertising in a lot of battleground states, almost entirely unanswered by Trump. The Clinton campaign is going to go up on the air there, too, pretty soon, and that's another thing that could make a difference.
Yep.
Right. While Donald Trump has been taking his pretty long turn in the barrel, it's hard to imagine that the 5 months between now and November will go without Hillary Clinton having a few bad weeks of her own. In public polls, her negatives are not quite as bad as Trump's, but still pretty high. 54% of voters in our Bloomberg Politics poll had an unfavorable view of the presumptive Democratic nominee, while 55% said the same thing in the ABC News Washington Post survey. Mark, so knowing what we know, flip this coin around, what are the things that might likely happen, most likely things that could happen that would send Hillary Clinton into the barrel, either her own barrel or along with Donald Trump in the barrel?
I'll tell you, the biggest threat to her is the press favoring Trump. And I thought that in the general election, that might be a big advantage for him. Banning the Washington Post, from these events and behaving the way he is on a variety of issues that offend the sensibilities of a lot of news organizations and reporters, chances are lower that her winning streak is going to end anytime soon. Obviously, the email controversy, the FBI investigation is a potential thing that could put her in the barrel. The other thing would be another scandal involving the Clintons or the Clinton Foundation. Right. And then I think a gaffe of huge proportions. But I will say, Hillary Clinton hates being in the barrel. She feels
She's
put
not
upon.
Been gaffing much lately either.
But I'm telling you, I'm sure it'll happen. But I'm not sure it's going to happen before the convention, given how careful they're being both careful and aggressive.
The email thing, we've talked about it endlessly, but I can't help but find some sympathy or some sense of agreement with those who yesterday, seeing the data breach revealed at the DNC, that Russian hackers had gotten into the Democratic National Committee's computer systems, as raising a huge red flag around Hillary Clinton's email. We've wondered whether that server has been secure or not. The fact that the DNC's computer was breached, I think, raises again the question of whether hers has been breached. We don't know. But if you're asking what could send her back in the barrel, if that turned out to be true and stuff was compromised, she'd be back in the barrel again.
Yeah, it's like banking the whole thing like they banked the whole last election on Benghazi.
Yeah.
Up next, a Republican ad maker and a Hillary Clinton supporter walk into a studio to talk about Donald Trump. That's not the beginning of a joke. Rather, it's our next segment. We'll be right back.